Dune Part 2. I just saw it in IMAX. Got this pretty sweet poster that I'm going to have to look for a place now for this. I think I got somewhere nice I can put it. Trying to think of a good spot, but yeah. Anyways, you're not here for me to talk about where I'm going to put my Dune 2 IMAX poster, but yeah, I did see this movie. And I'll be honest, guys, I love the Dune franchise. I've read the books multiple times. I don't really talk about the books in the reviews I've done, just because I don't think there's much to talk about when I compare them to the books, because there's better people to do that. And I like movies more than books, so that's just me. But I love Dune Part 1. Dune Part 2 is so much better than Part 1. And the best way to describe this movie is Dune 1 walked so this movie could run. That is the best way to describe this movie. That movie is perfect as its setup and lead in to this epic movie. These two Dune movies are going to become the Lord of the Rings of this generation, where these are iconic films just with fantasy settings that people grow engrossed in the characters and the world, and they want to see their journeys. And there's so much memes and moments and iconic battles and scenery from these movies that will become iconic. Pieces of music that will become iconic, because this movie does have a fantastic score, and so did the first one, but this one's score is even more terrific. And so when you watch all this movie, it is, some interviews were describing this movie. This is the Empire Strikes Back of Dune sequels, which is kind of an overused saying. Oh, it's the Empire Strikes Back. But for this movie, it is really justified, where this movie, like A New Hope, the first movie does all the setup, gets you into the action, does it what it needs to do, but you watch this movie and it's much darker, and there are moments where characters lose things, and it hurts you, and it affects you. There are moments where it's just pure action, just like in Empire Strikes Back. It is just awe-inspiring. This movie is 100% worth the IMAX. If you've never done IMAX before, I don't usually talk up IMAX, but this one I will. It is immaculate. Every scenery in this movie, the cinematography is just some of the best I've ever seen. It is fucking mind-bogglingly gorgeous. I mean, this is Blade Runner 2049 levels of just, how the fuck did you even do that shot? Like, I don't know. There are very few movies that I go out of the theater going, how the fuck did they do this? Like, what did they do to make this happen this way? Why does that shot look the way it does, and how did they even fucking do it? It's just mind-boggling. This movie's memorizing, from the scenery to the music to the performances. I mean, this movie had a lot of cast members I didn't even realize were in this movie, but I guess they were all announced in interviews. Christopher Walken as this fucking emperor. Austin Butler and Dave Bautista as the villains of these two parts, and just fucking gruesome and violent and vile, and just Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya both give incredible performances. You really buy into their romance and their chemistry, and you're hurt and you feel gripped at all the right moments. It's just, Florence Pugh is incredible in this movie. I think most of these actors did some of the best performances I've ever seen from them, especially Dave Bautista in this movie. He is so fucking just, in this movie. He's just, je ne sais quoi. This movie is just, I literally want to go watch it again. I hate when people clap at the end of a movie, but this movie, it felt so justified, because it's just like, you're just like, how the fuck did they even adapt these books? I mean, these books were so unadaptable. It's like Lord of the Rings. And that's another comparison with Lord of the Rings for this generation, where, like, it literally, these books were just like Lord of the Rings, were so talked of being unadaptable. People had tried, and now we have these movies where they finally succeed and just make the most fucking immaculate shit in the world. And I can't believe I got to witness it because, I wasn't alive. Well, I was alive when the Lord of the Rings movies came out, but I was too young to have seen them in the theaters and really engage with them. I didn't see them until I was about 16, 17 years old. Right? So, Lord of the Rings, I love the movies, but it'll never hit me in the same way that it hit all of you who are older in my audience back when these movies were released, where this movie will be an experience I treasure, like some of you maybe treasure those moments seeing those Lord of the Rings movies in the theater and everything that meant to you. Where for me, it's just, oh, God. I mean, this is a 3-hour movie, and I was excited about this movie because I love this franchise. I love the books. I love all that stuff, like I said. But going into the theater, I was dreading it because of the length, and not in like a bad way, but it's one of those things. I sit down in the theater, and I'm chowing down on my food a little bit, my drink, and I'm just sitting there going, this movie's gonna start, and I'm looking at this thing. I'm like, 3 hours. My God, it's gonna be so late. I got work tomorrow, and just from moment one, I was fucking hooked, and it got more and more engrossing the more the movie went along. It is a perfectly paced movie, and it's so weird because Dune movies are very slow, methodical movies for the most part. This one is a lot more faster paced than Dune Part 1, so I think more people will like this one than the first one. But still, these are just perfectly paced movies. It's just, I can't sing this movie's praises enough. Go see this movie on the biggest screen possible when you can. It is just... Let me calm myself down. I haven't been this excited about a movie in a long ass time, since probably like Godzilla -1 or The Creator or something like that. Just something that where I'm just sitting here like awe-inspired by just what I'm watching on the screen. Actually, Poor Things is probably the last one like that. I mean, fuck, this movie's wonderful. I can't do it enough.